I am the talent. It's time to play Minecraft. Welcome back to the Minecraft Slowrun Bedrock Edition. We're starting out this episode here on top of the factory in our industrial district because I wanted to give you a view of how our factory blends into the landscape. Or actually how it does not blend into the landscape, which is what I kind of want to work on right now. So over here where the floor of the factory, sort of the stone platform that we've been building out, meets the land, I want to have a road that connects the factory to our actual road that leads to our base over to the west and to our starter village over to the east. And I think I've got a good set of materials that I want to use to build that road. And I just started blending in the stone platform with the road itself. One of the things that I didn't really like, is that we've got this shelf here, this stone shelf that the factory is sitting on, and it doesn't really blend in very well. Now, I know that's kind of a minor detail, but it's something that bothers me as a builder. So I tried to blend it in just a little bit here, where the stone extends a little bit. We got a little bit of grass going around the edge, make it appear a little bit more natural. But the main thing I want to do is start focusing on this road. And I really like this design. I think this is going to work not only for the road that connects the factory, but also the road all the way down, once we get enough of these materials, of course. So on the interior of sort of the middle part of the road where it's more worn down, we've got some brown mushroom blocks, packed mud bricks, and then around the edges, brick and granite, and a little bit of the plain terracotta color. I think that kind of works quite well. Now, we've been farming brown mushrooms over in our starter village where we've got all the podzol there. You can grow mushrooms on podzol at any light level, which is great. The mud, on the other hand, is one of those trickier blocks in Minecraft to get. I had a great discovery just this morning while I was over at the starter village trying to get my hands on more mud and packed mud. I'll show you that clip right now. The starter village, where the doors are always open. That's just a little joke. I don't know why we put the doors here. Anyway, so I came here in search of some materials that we need for the landscaping around the factory. And yeah, we're trying to work on mud. Mud is super annoying in Minecraft, especially packed mud. Most specifically, packed mud is what I want to use for a lot of the road material, and it's super hard to get. So I got a water bottle here, and I've been down by the shoreline there, just constantly clicking on the water, clicking on the dirt, turning it into mud. Okay, so the other ingredient that we need, of course, is wheat. And wheat is super hard to get as well. I'm growing a lot of wheat around here, but it just doesn't grow up fast enough. So I had to go raid some villages. In the process, I discovered something that I had no idea. I thought the nearest mangrove swamp was 5,000 blocks away, but there is this tiny one right here, and that is going to be good enough. I was just struggling with the fact that getting all of this mud was just going to be such a pain. Now I'm just going to go to town here. Yes, I know it's not very renewable of me. We will make a proper packed mud farm. Well, a mud farm. But right now, I just want to grab this and go. Just like in real life, when you've exhausted your natural resources, well, there's none left. And especially something like mangrove swamps that are incredibly rare. We want to be conservationists here. So yeah, what I'm doing right now is not really a, how should we say, sustainable process. Sorry, mangrove swamp, but this is so much easier than getting this stuff by hand. So when we got back to the village, we got lots of brown mushroom blocks, a lot of those hay bales that I stole from the other villages. Yeah, we were able to make quite a bit of packed mud. We still have more mud remaining. And some muddy mangrove roots, too. Those are excellent blocks for decoration. Anyway, now that we've got the basic materials for the road, I think what I'm going to do is just outline a path It's not going to be very straight. It needs to curve around. I'll probably have to bulldoze some of these some of this land mass here and just clear a way down. I've kind of got it already marked out with torches, and this is the general path that we're going to take. And we'll bring the road down all the way here to where it connects with the path. The path blocks that we made just as a temporary road. The next thing that we want to do after we get that road, I am planning out a new build that is going to go right here. What we're planning to do with this land right here is a build that showcases all the materials that we have available at the factory. It would be sort of like the factory store. Now, I've probably mentioned already that on this server, we pretty much share everything collectively. I mean, if you need stuff in bulk, then you make an arrangement with somebody that has a farm. But if you just need a few materials here and there, we basically try to share everything. And one of the things, since my factory is making so much bamboo, so much dried kelp and cactus, and bone meal, right? And we're using that bone meal to make all the different dye colors. That's what I want the focus of this shop to be, is all around the dye colors. It will be the central place to come on the server if you need some dyes. With that in mind, I'm going to get started on this road, and then I've got to come up with a material list. That could probably take a while because every block counts, every detail matters. Yes, there's going to be a lot of details in this build. It's not huge, right? We've learned our lesson. We're sticking to a smaller scale than last season. The factory here, that's going to be the biggest build that we've got. And that was big enough, right? But by going with the smaller scale, you can focus on details. And so that's what I want to do here with our factory store. And we're back. I've been making a lot of progress on the road. It's shaping up. I tend to really overdo it on the textures, and I'm hoping it doesn't just turn into a jumbled mess. But I also dislike it when everything is completely uniform. Like if you had everything that's one block, the brown mushroom might work, but you need to break it up every now and then, I feel like. Same with if you had brick all the way, that would be an incredibly noisy pattern. I feel like it's a little easier on the eyes when you have this, when you have some alternating textures in there. Again, I don't know if it's perfect. It's what I'm liking for this part. I think it works as like a sort of a muddy road that's well traveled. You know, this is sort of before machines. It's sort of a 19th century factory, before automobiles, I guess. You know, so we don't need 5-lane highways or anything in this world. It's something that would be traveled mainly by horse and carriage, I guess. Now, there are some parts here where we have to raise in elevation, and it was actually pretty easy to do that. Obviously, the brick and granite, you've got slab varieties, same with mud brick, and I found that jungle slabs really work well as a third brownish texture. So kind of fill in the gaps between the mud brick and the well, otherwise we would just have mud brick for the middle, right? We can use brick and granite alternating on the edges, but for the center, there's really just mud brick, and I went with the jungle slabs. Look, works pretty well. The other thing is, I don't know if I'm going to keep this, but see, I really like these the peppering in the plain terracotta color. I did it quite a bit over here. I think that works really well on the edges, sort of like another worn out brick texture. But I kind of ran out of the plain terracotta. I started using the light gray since I have some of that left over from building the factory. But I really don't know if it works here. It kind of stands out. So I'm not sure if I'm going to keep those. In any case, if we were to continue this road pattern all the way to our base and to our village, that would require a lot more resources. So we're not going to work on that part right now. Just want to get another view from up here. You can kind of see the entire road starting there, going up the slope and over to the factory. But yeah, we're not going to work on the rest of the road right now. What we're going to do is focus our attention to this area right here. This is where the factory, store, and cafe are going to go. I've got a name for it all picked out. So I'm going to start a chest monster right here so that we can start organizing all the materials that we need for this build. There we go. All right, so this part is kind of the boring part of Minecraft. I mean, it's fun for me collecting all the resources, but it's really boring as in terms of content. So I'm gonna see if I can get through the bulk of the material gathering on my own. If there are some interesting things that happen, I'll keep the camera rolling and bring you along for the ride. But other than that, it's going to be me with a stone cutter and a crafting table, organizing all the materials that we need for this build. So let's get started on our factory, store, and cafe. I will catch you on the flip side. And we're back, and we've got all the materials we need to get started building our factory cafe. Just take a little walk down the road that leads from the factory down to our main road. Down here at the intersection with the main road, we've got our chests ready to go with all the materials that we need to put together our build. We've got so much good stuff here. Check this out. Everything is all organized. We got the stripped dark oak. We got spruce stairs, you know what I'm talking about. We got calcite. We got all kinds of different wood varieties. We've got bone blocks. We've got a couple stacks of pistons. Oh yeah, you want to see what I'm going to do with those. We're building with pistons, folks. We've also got a variety of different stone materials and slabs and walls. And lastly, some other little decorative bits that we're going to put in and around the build. I got some lightning rods here to remind myself that this build is mostly made of wood, and I will definitely want some lightning rods around. All right, it's going to go up right here. I'm going to clear out some of this terrain here and get started on the build. So I just finished recording a very long episode of the material gathering process, and I kind of did it in a stream format where we just did the entire thing in a single take, and I'm going to release that episode after this one. It's very long, but it's a lot more casual, and I think you might be interested in checking that out. So that'll come a few days after we release this episode here. The other thing to mention is that, pardon me. The other thing I want to mention is that I don't have a separate computer to do a camera account at the same time as I build it, so I can't really do a proper time lapse. And the building process here is not the most important part. I want to really just get it built because we've got a lot more to do with it once we've got it built. The entire point is what we put in the factory store. So let's just get this thing built, and I'll come back when either I'm frustrated enough with the terraforming or we've got something decent to work with. I thought I would just show a quick preview of what we're doing since it's taking a very long time getting all these details in. So we've got this sort of entrance area that'll come off of the road. This is sort of the main entrance here. And here is our interior. Still halfway done. I really love how this is shaping up. If we go up to the second floor here, this is where all the action is now. Yeah, it's still a mess. And the inventory is absolutely cluttered. completely cluttered. Just such a variety of different blocks going into this build. Because they're actually, you can tell there are different sections to it. And I think that really resembles a kind of old style building that was renovated over many years. It had different purposes. Like this part here was kind of a barn almost. And then it got turned into, like a cafe, restaurant, shop. Who knows? Who knows? I haven't really fully come up with the lore yet, but we're getting there. Sort of this original structure that was built, and then they tacked on that one at the end. I think it's going to work really well once we sort of blend in the landscaping here. All right, back to the chest monster. Time to get back to building. Our factory, store, and cafe is now done. I'm so excited to show this off. This is the view coming out of the factory, the road that leads down to the main road. We've got a little path here that leads sort of to, this is really the side entrance. Let's do a little walk around first, and then I'll give you a tour of the inside. Once we put in the road, this is the view that you get. The main road continues down along this path closer to the water. And this is where you would come in probably with your horse and take a little shelter from the rain here. And this is the main entrance, and then the road continues down here to connect with the path. And then coming from the side where the village is, you can really start to see how this building has evolved over time. It's been renovated in a couple different places. Sections have been tacked onto it. It's been repaired over time. You can see the roof has some issues with it, but that's what you would expect from an old building from the industrial era. We did some basic terraforming around here just to sort of smooth out the terrain. I haven't done much with the landscaping yet. Landscaping and lighting are still two things that I really need to focus on here, but I was just so excited to get the store built, and I think I've figured out the lore for this building as well. So it starts out, this part here was originally a barn that was built by the farmer that owned all of this land here. When the factory came in, it was converted into more of a storeroom and also a pub for the factory workers and also other townsfolk that might happen to be passing by. And because it's such a popular pit stop on the road, it was eventually turned into a small cafe and a store, a factory store, to sell and display all of the goods that are being produced up in the factory. And so the name that I've decided to go with is the Breadbasket Cafe. So those of you who know my base on the Slowrun SMP, it's called the Breadbasket Inn. You'll also recognize that part of this shape I have reused here. The main entrance that we have over here, I also have the same entrance over on the Slowrun SMP. Change things up a little bit. You know, instead of the giant inn that I have, we're making it a little bit smaller here, a little cafe style. If you're going to steal someone's build, you might as well steal from yourself, right? From above, you can see kind of the eclectic roofing materials that I decided to use here. I really decided to go all in on the weathered look, and that's why we're using a lot of mossy cobble stairs here, and blending the spruce with the dark oak stairs really gives this a feeling that, this is a really old building, and it's been falling apart for many years, and, has some issues with the roof, but they are repairing it. They're keeping it functional. So let's do a little tour of the inside. I mean, that's where the fun is here. You can see I've also, I couldn't decide what style of floor that I wanted to have in here. We've got this design using pistons. I think it works as sort of a wooden tile floor that was used in old times, sort of a parquet floor. You can see we're still kind of under construction here. I haven't really thought out the interior all that much just yet, but from the main entrance, there would be a little seating area over here where you could grab a hot cup of cocoa. And then over here is where I want to have all of the dye colors on these shelves here. So we've got 16 barrels all lined up, ready to go. Oh yes, the bone block, alternating bone block floor, I really love this style. And because we have the moss farm, which converts into bone meal very, very nicely, we have a lot of spare bone blocks that we can use as building material. And then, so on the upstairs, this is, you know, staff only beyond this point, please. We head on upstairs, and a lot of different nooks and crannies up here for storage and other bits and bobs. So I've got my item frames right here. Only need 16, but had the leather, so I decided to make them. And I think what we'll do is place them here on the stripped bamboo blocks, which kind of look like wine racks maybe, or some sort of shelf where you could have storage of little goods inside. But we're going to put these along here and then have the dye colors in each of these barrels. The other cool thing I like about this build, you'll notice there are barrels pretty much everywhere. We've got storage all over the place, even over here. I use stairs so that you can access these barrels here. And all of the leftover building materials are actually hidden away in some of these barrels that I've got. We're actually using them as actual storage. That way I was able to clean up the chest monster that was lurking over here, so we don't have to deal with that. Everything is nice and clean. Calcite and white concrete powder work together super well. You don't really need that much more to make it a nice, interesting pattern. Mixing those all together, it looks like a plaster wall that is sort of faded over time. So on this deep slate part, you know, we're just mixing the tile, deep slate tile, and brick slabs. Instead of using a single uniform texture, it just gives it that worn down appearance. Lots of signs, trapdoors, and buttons. Over here on this awning, I've got trapdoors and also extinguished campfires, just 3 of them right there to make a little bit of an overhang. So I'm going to head back to the factory because we've got all the goods that we're going to be putting in the factory store. So back over here, I've been starting to get to work here. We've been doubling up the furnaces so that I can grab as much green dye as I can. I've been smelting that, adding it over here. We've got the green dye all set up. We've got brown dye ready to go. We've got plenty of bone meal over here from the moss farm. And we're going to be using that bone meal over here on the flower farm, along with all of our different flower types. So yes, now is the fun part. The build is done, and now we just get to stock everything up. I'm going to make 16 shulkers, 1 for each dye color, bring all the colors down to the factory store, and then that'll be it. The factory store will be open for business. We're ready for one more round with the Floramatic 9000. That's an appropriate name for a machine like this. So we've got ourselves a pink tulip here. Let's place that right there, and let's grab some bone meal. We'll grab just 2.5 stacks, should be good enough. Throw this in the dispenser. Fire away. Woohoo! So let's make this pink dye here. Ba-boom, and pink dye. There we go. Oh, we've got all of the colors laid out here, all 16 colors. And some overflow as well. So white, we got all the white dye. Lily of the Valley, the easiest way. Remember, 1 stack of bone meal will turn into 9 stacks of Lily of the Valleys, or any of these single tall flowers. For the light gray, we've got the Azure Bluettes. Gray, well, gray is a mix of black and white. It's not a primary color. Black, of course, from our ink sacks there. Brown is from our cocoa beans. Red dye. We got the red tulips here. Orange tulips. Dandelions, which when they grow, they'll also produce some poppies, but that's fine, right? We got our magenta from the alliums. Purple. A mix of blue and red. That's why we made some extra blue, which is from our cornflowers. Light blue is from the blue orchids, only found in the swamps. Cyan is a mix of blue and green. Green, of course, we're smelting up our cactus. Lime, which could be from sea pickles, but we don't have any sea pickles, so we are combining green and white to get lime dye. And you just saw the pink tulips from the pink dye. Now that we've got all our dye colors here, let's take everything down to the factory store. We've got our white dye, light gray, gray, black dye, brown, red, orange dye, yellow, lime, green, cyan, light blue, blue, purple, magenta, and pink. We've got our 16 dye colors here at the factory store at the Breadbasket Cafe, now open for business, even though there's not much else to do besides grab yourself some dye. I hope you're enjoying the series. We are coming up to the end of the summer season and won't have as much time to work on these videos, but we can't stay away for long. So stay tuned. We got more building projects, more adventures, and a lot more shenanigans in store. Here on the Minecraft Slow Run, Bedrock Edition. Thanks everyone for watching. Really appreciate it. I am the Talent. Today, we made history. And tomorrow, we're gonna make magic.